Hey everyone, my name is Alex Epstein. I am a realtor here in the San Francisco Bay Area and a lifelong San Franciscan. In this video, we're going to be talking about the true cost of living in San Francisco, what the average person pays, how high your expenses can go, and more importantly, what's actually attainable on the lower level if you're strategic. Let's jump in. Starting off here, we are going to be talking about housing, which is obviously typically your largest expense. Now, from a buying or owning perspective, the average home here in San Francisco is about $1.4 to $1.5 million. Obviously, there's homes that are much higher and some lower, but that's the benchmark we are going to use. At $1.5 million with 20% down, you are putting down $300,000, which means that your loan amount is $1.2 million and your monthly payment is about $7,000 to $7,500 a month. Property taxes are about another $1,500 on top of that, and insurance is about $100 a month. If you are in a condo, you can look at anywhere from $600 to another $1,200 on average on top of that. So all in all, you're at about $8,500 to $10,000 a month. Now on the lower end, if we are looking at a property of $1 million, 20% down would obviously be $200,000 with an $800,000 loan. The payment would be between $4,600 and $5,000. Property taxes at about $1,000. Insurance at about $100. And if you're looking at an HOA, you're probably between $400 and $900. All in all, your monthly expenses would be between $5,700 and $6,800. So yes, the averages are high here, but as you can see, a $1 million home compared to a $1.5 million home is a considerable difference, with the monthly payment being around $3,000 higher. At the lower price point, you'll be looking at neighborhoods like Portola, the Excelsior, Ingleside, and Silver Terrace. At the median home price, you can look in neighborhoods like the Outer Sunset, Outer Richmond, and Glen Park. And for homes at the higher price points, you'll be looking at neighborhoods like Pack Heights, Russian Hill, Noe Valley, and Cole Valley. Now, moving on to renting costs. Obviously, if you're not going to be buying or you don't already own something in the city, you'll be renting. So the average prices for those in the city are between $2,200 and $2,900 for a studio, between $3,000 and $3,800 for a one bedroom, between $4,000 and $5,500 for a two bedroom, and $5,500 to $7,500 plus for a three bedroom. Obviously, you can go higher than this if you're looking at a luxury high-rise building and a building with many amenities or prime neighborhoods like Pack Heights. And on the lower end, you'll obviously be looking at some of the neighborhoods I mentioned before, or a very common entry point is renting a room. You can find rooms on websites like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace for as low as $1,200. Keep in mind that you may get a smaller room and you may have to share a kitchen or bathroom with these smaller prices. The price ultimately depends on the roommate setup in the neighborhood, but I've seen prices as low as $1,200, and obviously you can go as high as you would like. So now we are going to move on to section 3, which involves transportation costs. So in San Francisco, our public transportation is called the Muni system. The Muni consists of buses, light rail, cable cars, and historic streetcars. For other transportation options, we have BART, which services the Bay Area. You can go from San Francisco to Berkeley, for example, or to head down south towards San Jose, you have Caltrains. Now, if you're a frequent public transportation user or don't have a car, you can use the Muni monthly pass, which is about $84. And that includes all public transportation within the city operated by Muni. Now, if you also want to include BART rides within the city, you could spend $104, and that includes everything in the cheaper pass I just mentioned, plus all BART rides within the city limits of San Francisco. If you live and work in San Francisco and don't have a car, this is a great affordable option for unlimited rides for an affordable price. If you decline that option and wanted to do the single pass or single fare ride method, then that costs about $3 for a single ride. So if you do the math here, the Muni unlimited pass is about $86, while the single ride is about $3. So we're looking at just shy of 30 rides in a month for the unlimited pass to make sense. Now, if you don't like public transportation and are willing to pay for the convenience, you can obviously take a rideshare option like Uber, Lyft, or Waymo. A short ride probably costs about $8 in the city. A medium ride, I would say, is about $15 to $20 in the city. And a long ride, I would say, is maybe $30 to $40 in the city. I would say realistically, most rides are probably anywhere from $18 to $30. A lot of people that I know that don't own a vehicle actually mix public transportation with rideshare for a good blend. That way you're not spending as much as taking rideshare everywhere, but also you're not inconveniencing yourself all the time with public transportation. So maybe a good medium here is to use public transportation when you have more time or when things aren't so far away and you can get there relatively quickly. But when you're on a rush or somewhere takes a long time to get to, rideshare is a great option. Now, if you own a car, you have to think not only about the cost of the vehicle and maintenance, but you also have to think of parking, insurance, gas, and tolls. For gas, right now, gas is about anywhere from $4.25 to $5 a gallon for the lowest grade gas. Insurance, you're probably looking at about a couple $100s a month. Tolls, I want to say tolls going to the East Bay are currently $8, but are going up to $8.50 in January of 2026, which is right around the corner. And keep in mind for tolls, to go from San Francisco to the East Bay does not cost anything, but to come from the East Bay to San Francisco, you have to pay a toll. So you only pay a toll going one way, not both ways. Now, to go north, the toll costs about $9. If you live in a neighborhood where parking is hard, you may have to pay extra for a parking spot, whether that's offered through your building or a parking garage. Usually that costs somewhere around a couple $100s, but I have seen this be as expensive as $500 a month. And lastly, tickets. If you get a ticket, that's going to be expensive. In San Francisco, I want to say tickets start at around $80. For those of you that do not know, there are a multitude of ways of getting tickets in San Francisco. So make sure that you follow all rules and regulations regarding parking. I have gotten numerous parking tickets in the past, most commonly for street cleaning, which we have in San Francisco. In some areas, it's once a week. In some areas, it is a couple times a month. So make sure you're looking at the signage before parking somewhere. Also, make sure you look at the curb. If the curb is colored yellow or red, obviously make sure to follow the rules. Red meaning you can't park at all. Yellow meaning certain vehicles can park at certain times. Another way you can get a ticket other than street cleaning is through meters. Some areas in San Francisco, especially along commercial corridors, have meters. And obviously, if you don't pay your meter or you come late, they are timed. You will be fined. And lastly, and I don't even know if you would classify this as a ticket, but you can get in deep trouble and get towed if you block someone's driveway or do anything along those lines. All in all, if you include the things I mentioned like gas, insurance, parking, tolls, and a couple other miscellaneous things, to own a car in San Francisco, you're looking at about $500 to $1,000 a month. On to my favorite category here. Section 4 has to do with food and groceries. Now, for groceries in San Francisco, there are a wide range of options, starting from Safeway, which is the standard since there are so many locations in San Francisco. There's Whole Foods in the higher range, which you can find at Stonestown or near California Street. On the lower end, there's Grocery Outlet, which there are quite a few of now in the city, and I would say is a dark horse in the sense that there are more than you think. Some of them tend to be a little bit smaller and you may not have as many choices, but that can be a good thing. And I would say that they have pretty good competitive pricing. And also along those lines, which is one of my favorites and I recommend to people, is Trader Joe's. There are a few Trader Joe's in the city, Stonestown being one of them. Trader Joe's seems to be one of my favorites because the stores have pretty much everything you need, but aren't too large, and they have very competitive pricing. Now, for a single person, I would say groceries tend to be around $450 to $650 per person. For couples, I would say groceries probably cost anywhere from $800 to $1,200. Keep in mind, these are just typical monthly ranges that I'm using based on my experience, my friend's experience, and some quick online research. You can definitely go higher or lower than this. It just depends on your needs. Now, for eating at restaurants, food has gotten quite a bit more expensive here, just like it has gotten in the rest of the United States due to the pandemic and inflation. But I would say that a casual meal here probably starts around $15 for an entree, and that can obviously go much higher and maybe a little bit lower depending on what you're looking for. And nicer restaurants probably have entrees between $30 and $50. Now for drinks, cocktails in the city tend to be around $15 each. If you eat out about a few times a week, you could probably expect your dining budget to be anywhere from $350 to $600 per month. On to section 5, utilities and internet. This varies a lot throughout San Francisco, depending on your building type and heating setup. But for averages, I would say electricity and gas, you're looking at about $150 to $200 a month. For water and trash, you're looking at about $60 to $120 per month. For internet, you're looking at about $55 to $85 per month. And for your cell phone bill, you're probably looking at $50 to $90 per month. For internet, I highly recommend Sonic if it's available in your area. A lot of people don't know about Sonic, but in my experience, it tends to be cheaper and better than all the other service providers, including the big ones like Comcast or Xfinity. And for people that live in or are thinking about living in condos, be sure to keep in mind that your HOA might include water, trash, maintenance, and sometimes even internet. Now moving on to section 6, which are miscellaneous costs. Mid-tier gyms probably cost about $50 a month, whereas boutique gyms might cost anywhere from $100 to $200 a month. Pet rent in apartments may cost $25 to $100 a month. And for those parents or guardians out there, childcare is pretty expensive, ranging from $1,800 to $2,800 a month. And private school tends to cost anywhere from $25,000 to $55,000 a year. Now on to section 7, which is a realistic monthly budget. Let's go over 2 examples here. Now for a typical single person in a 1-bedroom, your rent may cost $3,300 a month, utilities cost $170 a month, internet costs $70 a month, groceries $500 a month, dining out $400 a month, and transportation, assuming that you are taking Muni and occasional ride shares, you're looking at $100 to $200 a month. I would say that you could expect the total cost of living here to be anywhere from $4,500 to $5,000 a month. Now, for the lowest possible setup, if you're trying to be as budget friendly as possible, you can probably get away with a room at $1,500 a month, utilities maybe included even, or let's say $100 a month maximum. Internet could also be included. Let's say it's $30 a month shared, groceries $400 a month, dining out $200 a month, and a Muni pass at $86 a month. You can probably get away with living here for $2,200 a month. San Francisco is not cheap, as you can see, but people make it work here at every price point. Finally, moving on to section 8 here, which is the conclusion and final thoughts. San Francisco is obviously a very expensive place to live. We just went over realistic costs, which says that as a single person here, you can realistically live here for just over $2,000 a month, but most people spend quite a bit more than that. The average person probably spends closer to $5,000 a month, and obviously this can go much higher. Now, if there are multiple people in your party, obviously the prices will be even higher than this. I just wanted to do this starting as a single person as a reference point, but also keep in mind that there are some savings, meaning that if you're a couple, for example, you're living in one place, you have a shared or combined cost for things like housing. While San Francisco is expensive, you have to think of everything the city has to offer. Great job opportunities, walkability, culture, food, tech, nature, the great microclimates, and a lifestyle that is hard to match. There are ways here you can live affordably. You just need to understand the neighborhoods, the trade-offs, and the types of housing that fits within your budget. If you're planning a move here or thinking about buying, I'm always here and happy to help. I can run you through real cost of living numbers based on your situation. Thanks for watching. If this was helpful, like the video, comment down below, and subscribe. Let me know which neighborhood or topic you would like for me to go over next. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.